Leo Cullen has announced that he will step down as the head coach of Leinster after a 2027 campaign. The former Ireland international departed the province after 12 years in charge, which he has led in 6 league titles, including this season, along with the Champions Cup in 2018. However, Cullen has failed to add a fifth European title to the club's trophy cabinet, and this failure, despite having incredible resources within the Irish province, has led to criticism and questions around his future. Now, the 32 cap Ireland international has taken the decision to step down, and it has led to speculation about who could replace him, with there being 5 high-profile names already linked to the position. However, here are some honourable mentions before we start. Johnny Sexton could look for his first head role coach after working within the Irish setup under Andy Farrell, as well as the British and Irish Lions setup last summer in Australia. While Sean O'Brien or Jacques Nienaber could be in line for promotion, just like Leo was 11 years ago when he took over. So, here's the 5 options. First is Ronan O'Gara. The current La Rochelle head coach has been a name touted by many in recent days to be replacing Cullen, particularly after Andy Farrell's decision to remain as Ireland head coach by extending his contract for another 4 years. O'Gara may have been viewed as the favourite to replace Farrell as head coach of the national team after the 2027 World Cup. However, this speculation ended upon the extension of the Englishman's contract. Now he has been linked to Leinster, with being seen as a stepping stone to the Ireland job in 2031. There's no doubt about why he's being considered for this role, given the work he's done with the top 14 side, which guided him to 2 Champions Cup successes. Yet, I believe there'd be serious doubts about him truly going to Leinster. They would need to be seriously addressed, including the rivalry he has forged against Leinster in his playing days with Munster and now his coaching days with La Rochelle. O'Gara is a proud Munster man who would have to trade the red for the blue to take control of the 4 time Champions Cup winners, while also denying Leinster the chance to win this competition on 3 occasions, twice of these coming in a final. The former Ireland international's contract with La Rochelle is set to extend in 2027, so this has made it possible. But will he be willing to join a long-term rival? I don't think so. Joe Schmidt. The New Zealander has been linked with a return to the Irish province where he made his name on the biggest stage as he won the Champions Cup in 2011 and 2012. Schmidt will be without a role this summer when he steps down from the Australia's head coach position to be replaced by Les Kiss, so it may be perfect timing for him to return to Ireland. He was a catalyst for much of the success Ireland have experienced in the modern era, helping develop the Leinster side, bringing through youthful talent to the province to represent Ireland before he would take on the national role and make them the best team in the world according to rankings. As Leinster looks for refresh, they may turn to the little man who brought about the modern era. And as he evolved within the sport with his roles as New Zealand and Australia, he may be the perfect man to help evolve Leinster. Stuart Lancaster. Another option would be for Leinster to turn to another former coach who was pivotal in their Champions Cup success in 2018. Stuart Lancaster made Leinster one of the most entertaining and exciting attacking teams in Europe during his tenure as attack coach for the province. While he was currently doing a fantastic job at Irish rival Connacht, the former England head coach could be tempted back to Leinster for the head coach role, as his contract with his current side is due to end in 2027. There, if you would be hopeful he will continue his role with Connacht, as he is slowly building them into a fine URC team that is capable of qualifying for the Champions Cup regularly. However, there is always a scope that he could be lured back to Leinster, as I say. Scott Robertson, the former New Zealand and Crusaders head coach, has been without a club for the past few months after being removed from his position with the All Blacks. Scott Robertson struggled in his role for New Zealand, leading to believe they needed to go in a different direction ahead of the World Cup next year. He has since been linked to several nations and clubs since his departure, but he has yet to accept a position, though a job opening with one of the biggest clubs in Europe could tempt him back. Robertson is the only individual on this list out of contract at present, and I could see him holding early talks with Leinster. However, with 3 other options named, set to be out of contract, this doesn't really matter. Finally, Noel McNamara. An option for Leinster, who will be out of contract by the time Cullen steps down, is a coach who is revolutionising the way teams can attack. As I say, his contract with Borda Begla is until 2029, but many Leinster fans would love to see him join the side, bring an exciting brand of rugby back to the province. The appointment would appear unlikely as he appears to be enjoying the project in France and has helped them win the Champions Cup in the last 2 seasons, a comprehensive win over Leinster this campaign. But he may want to stay to help the side win their first ever top 14 title before his contract expires. Anyway, what do you think of these options? Who do you think should take over from Leo Cullen as Leinster boss? I look forward to seeing your comments, and until next time, I've been Brendan.